That I shit you not, I forgot I was streaming. Hold on. Where is it? There we go. I shit you not, I forgot I was streaming. God, okay, I am dumb as
So ever since
fuck. Anyway, let me shut the fuck up, music. Oh, there we go. Okay, now we gotta head the fuck back over here and check out some videos to watch. Woohoo! Anyway, thank you all for stopping on by. My name is Hexa, and I would be your local zombie attendant for today. We're just gonna be reacting, you know, the norm, and I honestly don't know what else. There was supposed to be a drawing stream, but like my thing won't work. I'm still trying to set it up so it will project onto my PC and I can stream it. So hopefully tomorrow we'll have a drawing stream. Okay. I'm interested in this now. The Impact of Diary of One Picket. I mean, it's a kid's book. How bad could it possibly be? Famous last words.
If you ask me to
Anyway, chat, today we're going to be watching The Impact of Diary of One Picket by Solar Sands. Let's get into it.
name the top 10 things I thought defined my generation, I would list things like iPhones, memes, and SpongeBob. But I would also write down a certain book series that in the grand scheme of things seems more like a footnote than anything else. In May of 2004, cartoonist Jeff Kinney began uploading posts of an idea that had been brewing in his mind since 1998, about a middle school weakling named Greg Heffley who would write about his life in a journal. The writings and illustrations were uploaded on Funbrain in daily installments until 2005. In the meantime, Jeff Kinney worked on an abridged adaptation and showed it to a publisher in New York. The eventual book became an instant hit, and the online version
Yeah, the book is honestly goated. I think I stopped at like Cabin Fever or something like that. Actually, no, hold on. Let's actually like pull up the book series so I can tell when I stopped. There you have a Wimpy Kid book. See, damn, they're on like 20 now. What the fuck? What? Oh, is this the movie diary? Oh, that's. I do not remember the long haul. Yeah, this is the cover I remember for the long haul, not this one. I'm assuming that's like French or Spanish. Anyway, let's like go back over here. Fuck. Go back. Okay, I think I stopped. Okay, that's relatively recent. Now, see, I remember like actually buying the books until like The Getaway or Meltdown. And then my brother bought a few and I read them when I was bored until like Big Shot or Diaper Overload. No, definitely Big Shot. And then there was Diaper Overload, No Brainer, Hot Mess, and Party Pooper. Did one release this year already? Oh no, it's expected. Okay. Because it's like only not February, it's March 13th. That's still like way early into the year. Actually, hold the fuck on. How are we already almost a quarter way through the year? Damn, does time fly by?
received around 20 million views. As of this video, there have been an astonishing 14 books in the main series.
Alright, so this is like is this 6 years old? Hold on. 4 years old.
Plus a spin-off, 2 movie diaries, and a do-it-yourself book. In total, more than 200 million copies have
Damn! Alright, my guy's selling.
been sold. That is quite a lot for one book series, and it leads one to wonder, why is it so successful? What makes watching the misadventures of this teenage doodle so entertaining for millions of people, and could it possibly have had a significant impact on the meme culture of today?
One word, I'm assuming. Relatability.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a fascinating book series, both in its illustrations and in its writing. If you tried to pitch to me a children's book series about a sociopathic middle schooler who is pretty much a jerk to everyone around him, with characters that are drawn in a very synthetic, stiff, colorless, slightly grotesque art style, I would have thought you were crazy. Admittedly, that simplifies.
Alright, grotesque is taking it a little far, isn't it? I mean, sure, they're like kind of stiff, but that's like what you'd expect from like just a middle schooler doodling in his journal. So like, I guess it fits.
Things a lot, but it's still kind of amazing that this book series was an instant success when you really think about it. It's kind of rare to find a children's book protagonist who does not resemble a role model in any way. There's been mischievous protagonists, sure, even morally dubious ones, but I can't recall many child-friendly main characters who are mostly narcissistic assholes for their entire fictional lives. In Jeff Kinney's own words, Greg is not a hero, he's full of imperfections, and having a flawed character is a little bit more interesting than having a character that always does the right thing. I've enjoyed lots of books where the character is heroic, but with the title alone, I wanted to tell kids that Greg is not the most outstanding or admirable character. There is something a little bit different about him. And that's putting it lightly. Greg could be seen as an outright villain in some cases. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is pretty much a tragic comedy. Its writing is hilarious and surprisingly clever, but when you think about him as a character, he's pretty sad and pathetic. I mean, Greg Heffley is obsessed with his own success. He manipulates other people.
Yeah, he's honestly like, looking back at it, just a self-obsessed asshole. There's not really much else to his character beyond that. He's just a dick to everyone. How am I supposed to justify that shit?
To fulfill his desires, he steps over anyone who gets in his way. He has little to no remorse for his actions. Any kind of selflessness is extremely rare. He's stupid, he's a liar, and worst of all, he's a simp. These observations are nothing new. People have pointed them out in much richer ways than I have, and with many more examples. I don't need to go into too much depth, but what keeps this idea alive, what makes you want to follow this deeply flawed adolescent character, is the writing.
What the fuck is that illustration? Hold on. Go
For
back.
examples, I don't need to go into too much depth, but what keeps this idea alive, what makes you want to follow.
What the hell am I watching here? Huh? What is this even supposed to be? Heffley Model 36A, what the hell? Huh?
This deeply flawed adolescent character is the writing. There's so much, dare I say, subversion of expectations. Like, take this classic example from the first book, where Greg and Rowley are patrolling some kindergartners. At some point, Greg borrows Rowley's jacket and patrols the kids himself, while Rowley is taking a quiz. Eventually, he starts messing with the kids by terrorizing them with worms. One of the neighbors catches sight of him with the jacket and believes that Rowley is messing with the kids, even though it was Greg. So later, the leader of the patrol falsely punishes Rowley. Greg learns about this, prompting him to wonder if he should come clean about the whole situation. His mom notices something is clearly bothering him, and talks with him about how he should try to do the right thing. Usually in a situation like this, when your best friend is falsely accused and punished, and you are the one who actually should be dealing with that situation, you use your common sense. Realize that not speaking up would seriously damage your friendship and jeopardize your
Yeah, honestly, like, even if he speaks up, which it does happen in the book, this is how it goes. He still like majorly fucks up his friendship, which like it is Rowdy's right to like not be friends with this absolute sociopathic dickhead anymore.
trustworthiness, and sucking it up and coming clean, no matter the superficial penalty, would be the best decision. But instead, he decides that the right thing is to let Rowley take the fall for it. In fact, not only does he not even understand what he did wrong that started this whole mess, after he confesses to Rowley that he was the one who messed with those kids, he tries to shift some of the blame onto Rowley, saying his lesson was, be careful who you lend your coat to, and to add,
What? My guy. That is not an excuse for what you did. You're the one in the wrong. What the fuck? Holy shit, I understand why I was such a fucked up fucking dickheadish kid now. I was reading this shit all the goddamn time.
Even more insult to injury, Greg gets rewarded by his mother, who has the false impression he actually did the right thing. It's this kind of awful turn of events that makes these books so entertaining. Jeff Kinney just has this way of writing wonderfully wicked scenarios that gradually get worse and worse. And when they're seen through Greg's lens of the world, that's where the comedy comes in. But why does this appeal to so many children? Well, it's because children are assholes. Yeah, they look cute, and they seem so innocent on the surface.
Demons. Chat, I guarantee it. Look at any kid you can find. They will be dickheadish demons. Just watch. They're either dickheadish demons or they're getting tormented by one.
But they are little devils. Let's not pretend that children are incapable of doing wrong. There's so much children's media where the worst word they're allowed to say is crap.
No, don't. It's too late. Come on, dude, don't. It's already in motion. Well, put it out of motion! You pissed me off.
I remember when pissed was like a really big swear back when I was like 5.
But let me tell you, I've been in elementary school cafeteria sessions that had so many F-bombs, you could have sworn it was directed by Martin Scorsese. Diary of a Wimpy Kid nowhere near approaches that level of cursing, but just using the word moron plenty of times is enough to stand out from most of the sanitized kids' books out there. In a lot of children's shows, for example, the moral lessons are resolved in like a single episode. It's clean, uncomplicated, and tied up in a nice little bow. But in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Greg will make mistake after mistake after mistake, each compounding on the next. And sometimes he gets away with it, and sometimes he doesn't. That's how the world is. For a lot of children, their problems are similar, and doing the right thing is sometimes not clear or even desirable. The books don't moralize at you. They depict the world more cynically. I would also say more accurately, but that's up to personal experience. Sometimes it's appealing to just show the unflinching selfishness, the pettiness, the misguided immaturity of adolescence. Because the truth is, kids can be absolute little monsters to each other. Lord knows I was. Teenagers especially are obsessed with themselves to some degree, and that's what the appeal is. It's like kid representation. We're all flawed, more so than we'd like to admit, and that's what makes the character relatable. When I was younger, sometimes I agreed with Greg's decisions and sometimes I didn't. But now, with slightly more life experience, I see that most, if not all, his decisions were bad. And that's not me making a moral judgment about those decisions. I just think that Greg's tactics were bad. Like I said, he's not the brightest. I also think that his decisions are morally bad, of course. Anyway, now I don't think...
Yes, because because we needed clarification on whether breaking your friend's arm and your friend's leg on different occasions intentionally are moral or immoral. Wow, a very, very helpful observation there.
I think this book series teaches kids to be morally questionable. I think children around the age group it's directed at mostly know that Greg's behavior is not desirable. It's also not about glorifying bad behavior. Greg does face consequences for his missteps, but not always, which again is more accurate to the real world. And he does have brief moments of selflessness. Greg, at the very end of the first book, takes the fall for Rowley and says that he got rid of the infamous cheese, giving him the cheese touch, which effectively destroys his reputation. So he's not incapable of selflessness, but it takes a very long time to get to this point, and by the time of the next book, he's back to his old ways, which is appropriate. In real life, you don't just entirely change your behavior by one good deed. It's kind of like BoJack Horseman, as weird as that comparison is to make.
Honestly, it's not that weird of a comparison. They're both like similar levels of shitty person.
You also have to consider that while Rowley is far more innocent, he's not entirely exempt from flaws. Notably, he seems to have trouble with boundaries. However, another thing to consider is that Greg Heffley is an unreliable narrator. He could be taking these stories and exaggerating them to try and make himself look good for all we know, although he's not doing a very good job. Whether Greg is a full-on sociopath or a deeply flawed teen with misguided principles is kind of up to interpretation. So really, when I ask, how can a book series be so successful despite the main character being such an asshole, the answer is, the book series is so successful because the main character is an asshole. It's like watching a train wreck, and kids love train wrecks. It's good to acknowledge this because when you consider the qualities of the art style, the iconography that litters the pages and pops up into your mind anytime anyone mentions Diary of a Wimpy Kid, you'll find that the writing and the art say even more things about each other. The art style of Diary of a Wimpy Kid is extremely good at accomplishing its goal. It's clean enough and refined enough to give off sensations of professionalism, but it's just off enough and goofy enough to give it that amateur teenage doodle look. I have to praise Jeff Kinney for finding this delicate balance and creating such memorable illustrations, but it also kind of sucks. In a good way. That's confusing. Let me just take this step by step. There are only two colors, pitch black and the tone of the paper. This definitely makes objects and characters pop when necessary, but with only two colors, you'll sometimes have things blend into one another. The line weight is extremely consistent for every single element of every drawing. Text that isn't Greg's own handwriting will often be placed on documents without any consideration to the shape of the paper. Perspective is strange sometimes, and really is only there to show the depth of something, and not really how it corresponds with a vanishing point. The characters are stiff, both in the variety of ways they can move their body and their facial expressions. Their bodies are noodles and their hands are bloated sausages. The Heffley family is essentially a bunch of cookie-cutter faces and bodies, and Greg's signature vacant frown is just copy and paste, which probably makes making a new book far more efficient. Essentially, they're glorified stick figures. But where the art style really
Is that Sans Undertale? Holy shit.
shines is in the faces. The faces for characters outside of the Heffley family are kind of grotesque. They're either fat, potato-shaped, or have extremely large noses, and there are not many exceptions to this rule. In fact, has anyone ever noticed that the girls Greg likes seem to have the same face that he does? Yes, his brother has the same basic face as well, but that's probably just because he's related. How come every other character besides the desirable females and his brother have unique, distorted faces? The only reason that comes to my mind is that Greg seems to only view anyone desirable as himself. Jesus Christ.
Holy fuck, it's a self-written, self-obsessed book. My mind. Fuck.
I could also bring in shape theory, and how intentionally or not, Jeff Kinney seems to kind of use it. Shape theory is a very basic thing in character design that pretty much uses common geometry and ascribes certain attributes to them. The circle is often known as being cute and appealing, which of course is how Greg Heffley draws himself along with his family, but that's probably more so because they're related. And then you have Rowley as a square, usually associated with being sturdy and stubborn, like his absolutely stubborn nature of insisting he keeps Greg as a friend, no matter how much he's abused. And then we have the triangle, often associated with wickedness and danger. And who do we know has a distinctly triangle-shaped head? That's right, Fregley. If you think that's a bit far-fetched, I don't blame you, but hey, if the shoe
Holy shit, he might actually be onto something. Hold on, let him cook.
fits, but let me make one thing clear. None of this is to the detriment of the art style. Quite the opposite, actually. It all fits perfectly as the style of a teenager trying to doodle his experiences, but with a bit more of a professional cleanup. This suckiness gives it its iconic look, its appeal. If we compare it to a similar book, Big Nate, you'll see that it has a more traditional newspaper cartoon style, which makes sense, because the original comic strip was launched 7 years before the Wimpy Kid series was ever even conceived. Oh, and you may notice that the examples I bring up are slightly drawn over, and that's because like 5 years ago, me and my brother for some reason decided to vandalize each and every page of this book with our own jokes, which mostly consisted of farts, vomit, stitches, and mechanical devices poking out of people's heads. I guess it's a good thing this is all done in pencil. I'll just show a few highlights.
I don't get what's going on with the clock. Help.
This more aesthetically pleasing style, with its dynamic line weight, the energetic poses, the cross-hatching, and attention to textures, gives off a very different mood. And this is also reflected in the writing. While Nate is mischievous, sarcastic, envious, and narcissistic, he's not, like, malicious or manipulative to the point of seriously damaging his relationships with everyone around him. This is why
Greg is just straight up malevolent.
I think the Wimpy Kid art style is genius. Anyone can draw Greg with relative ease, and anyone can recognize that weird three-haired Charlie Brown-looking head, and, most importantly, the style does the job of getting into the main character's mind, really showing us how he views the world through his twisted lens. Now, I've only just started to catch up with the series again, and unfortunately I've noticed that the art style has seemed to decline. Now, Jeff Kinney must have had a lot of complaints about the lack of diversity in this series, because there's a lot more black people in the newer books. For some reason, these bizarre silhouettes have become more and more prominent. I get using it for large crowds, but in some of these pages, these are main characters. The excessively blacked out characters start to appear in Book 10, Old School, and by Book 12, The Getaway, they are just everywhere.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
that.
if this is just out of laziness or some recent stylistic choice, but I would rather actually be able to see the characters' faces. Silhouettes were used even in the first book, but they were rare and had more of a purpose. I guess you could argue Jeff Kinney has started blacking out people to put more emphasis on certain characters or objects in the scenes, but I just think it's overkill. It's also amusing to see how as the more books are made, the less color options are available to differentiate them. First you had red, blue, green, yellow, purple.
You know, all of the, like, main big colors.
Then slightly lighter blue for snow, that makes sense. Then brown, even black. Then Double Down is red with a yellow striped spine, and then Wrecking Ball is like, what? Hey man, you can't just start adding different textures that's supposed to look like a real diary,
Yeah.
and now you're adding rivets? The art style combined with the writing makes you realize Greg's narcissism is profound. It's in everything. It can be found in the art style, it can be found in his stories, it can be found in how he views desirable people. His narcissism leaks from each and every page. But Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a comedy, first and foremost. Like I said, it's not here to teach lessons or guide the youth, and having a narcissistic, manipulative character is a great way to get comedic moments. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is kind of similar to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in this way. Most of the comedy in the show comes from watching these awful people doing awful things to each other and concocting elaborate schemes to achieve their selfish desires. Diary of a Wimpy Kid achieves this at a childhood level. Its humor is often extremely sarcastic, cynical, and above all else, bizarre. When you look at meme culture today, you'll find the usual styles of comedy, the referential, the pun-based, the relatable. But I think more recently, with the help of the internet, this generation has pioneered humor that is utterly psychotic. And I think our childhoods had a lot to do with it. There are many things that anyone born between 1997 or so to like 2004 will share fond memories of, simply because
Hey, you're forgetting about me, 2009. Come on. Was the last, like, 5 years of that not too much? Or, like, too much? Fuck, I messed up my words.
of our easy access to media. Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney, viral YouTube videos, weird global events. They all had an impact on probably 99% of youth at the time, and a lot of it was humor-based. If anyone who watched a single episode of iCarly or ASDF movie or Mad will know, the kind of stuff we watched was weird, like really weird.
I can do this
Holy fuck, regular show mentioned let's go.
all day, Edward!
Yes, but the planet can't. Hi, gang, I'm Al Gore, and the planet is our responsibility. So the next time you can't kill me with wood. I am wood!
And I think that's manifested itself in meme culture, to the point we
guy.
laugh.
What the fuck did I just watch? What, hold on, rewind that. I'm severely discombobulated right now.
Really weird.
I can do this all day, Edward!
Like,
Yes,
this
but the
goes
planet
beyond
can't.
regular show.
Hi, gang,
What am
I'm
I
Al
watching?
Gore, and the planet is
Help,
our
my
responsibility.
brain.
So the next time you can't kill me with wood.
Why did it start relatively normal too? What is this?
I am wood!
And I
She puts it next to what the fuck?
think that's manifested itself in meme culture, to the point we laugh at bass-boosted microphones and the letter E. So it's no wonder older generations who didn't grow up with this weirdness are confused. My mom once glanced a look at her Facebook.
Wait, he might actually have a point, chat. Well, he has a point and I hate it. Why does he have a point?
Page and found this meme. She asked me what the hell it meant, and all I could do was stare at her blankly, because how on earth could I possibly explain why I thought this was funny? Let's take one of the most iconic stories from the first Wimpy Kid book. For some reason, there's this piece of cheese that was left outside, and no one, not even a passing janitor, bothered to clean it up, resulting in an extremely moldy piece of food, which the children in the school used to create a superstitious game called the Cheese Touch. I mean, that's pretty weird, but it's also pretty clever, setting up a somewhat plausible plot point that's paid off later in just a brilliant way. I think there's a lot of parallels between the humor of the internet and that of the Wimpy Kid books, and that's why I think the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series had, and still has, a significant impact on our generation. Of course, not solely on its own, but enough to be notable, and our generation has given back. You may have seen the Twitter accounts and posts that take illustrations from the book and make them extremely shocking and offensive, or you may have seen those weird, strangely depressing fanfictions on places like r/loaded diaper. We're just taking the weirdness of the media we consume.
What? Why is Greg heavily pregnant? Get your mpreg out of my childhood book.
To its next logical step. But are there even more secrets to be discovered? For example, in page 165 of the first book, Greg talks about a comic strip called Wacky Dog that used to be made as a humorous strip, but then it was used to handle the creator's personal business. So basically, this wacky dog does an uncharacteristic thing. And when do wacky dogs usually do uncharacteristic things? That's right, r/Doge lore. Jeff Kinney predicted the resurgence of Doge memes. Okay, but seriously, while the memes around the Wimpy Kids series are far less abundant than, say, SpongeBob and Phineas and Ferb, I think the essence of the humor is more prevalent, the basic ideas. And even if the essence isn't directly influential, it is very similar. Again, it wasn't just a singular piece of media. The Wimpy Kids series is just one actor in a joint effort to make our childhoods as weird, cynical, and nihilistic as possible. And thank God it was. I feel honored to live in the generation where humor is pushed to the point of complete insanity. The first book was released 13 years ago, and most of the kids who read it when it was first published are adults now. I know it shaped my sense of humor. Yes, sir, the Wimpy Kid books were a notable period of my life, as you can see by the sheer amount of them my family owns. It's kind of funny how by laying out the suckiness of his childhood, Jeff Kinney has given many of us, or at least me, some cherished childhood memories. I'll always remember the cool air of late September and early October, when book fairs were plentiful, and in the years of late elementary and early middle school, me and everyone else in my grade would go out, purchase the Guinness Book of World Records or Calvin and Hobbes, and of course, the newest Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, and read it all in like 3 days. Here's to you, Greg, you hilarious cold-hearted bastard.
Also, can we all agree that if Greg was like a real person, he'd be in his like 30s and just a fucking lol cow right now. Like on some novels online type shit. Anyway, that was a really fun video. Let's go on to the next one. Yippee!
Pick me.
What do we want to watch? Oh god, no! Why must I be reminded of these atrocities? The breadwinners and Sanjay and Craig. Oh god. Oh, we have to watch it now. You know, fuck it, this too, because I heavily relate to this. 90% of my interests are on here right now. Actually, hold on. Danganronpa, that's either just Green or Hermitcraft, Fortnite, DDLC, Miku, so probably Vocaloids in general, MLB, Third Life, JJBA, and anime in general. That's like all of the things that are on here are things I'm interested in. Alright, what else? I saw one up here, hold on. Why do men like sword? Simple. Big sword goes swish swish, cut stuff. That's the answer.
Why do men like swords?
And we chat today we're gonna be watching Why Do Men Like Swords by Lettuce Eating Walrus. Let's go.
Why do men like swords? We've loved swords all throughout history, like thousands of years worth of history. While sure we like them because they're long and pointy and they stab things, there's gotta be more to it than that, right? This is a rabbit hole that's been festering in my mind since I started trying to write this video like over a year ago. But in order to understand why men like swords, we need to
me with my Niji Sanji video, I swear. I haven't done that shit yet. I'm like, it's still in the under the first half of writing. Holy fuck.
start at square one. See, I think about swords at least once a day. Whether it be the Romans building an empire, Anakin Skywalker defending the Republic, or even an unnamed warrior fighting to defend his honor. I know I'm not the only one, right? Please say you or your boyfriend does this too. But again, why? When does this start? Well, I think this is a fascination we develop in childhood, the good old formative years. The time of our lives when all the armchair therapists on TikTok say is the most important in molding who we become. A time where I was allowed to freely run around outside and hit things with...
Damn, why the fuck did I just like instantly lose interest in this video? Like no disrespect to this guy, Lettuce Eating Walrus, but like, I'm sorry guy, but like, can you include at least some like Mr. Beast subtitles? I need something to like go jingle jingle for my brain. I need the dopamine hits every few seconds. Fuck.
Nickelodeon has been loved by all ages.
I genuinely believe that I have
I will do this one.
I genuinely believe that I have a lot of hobbies.
Alrighty, everybody. Today we're gonna be watching Having Embarrassing Interests by Sari Does Things. Let's get into it.
I genuinely believe that I have a lot of hobbies and interests, but whenever someone asks me what I do for fun, I have nothing to say, because there's no way I'm telling them that in my free time I play games made for 12-year-olds, listen to robots sing, watch adults play Minecraft, and make YouTube videos.
Those are all things I like to do. Fuck. I have embarrassing interests.
Because that's embarrassing. So instead I just go with my safe interests like baking or The Office. But that also leads to...
Chat, I may actually be fucked. I have zero safe interests. Like, the fuck am I supposed to say? I like building Gundam? I had someone mistake it for me saying condom once.
Very few people actually knowing me well, and me not being able to fully be myself because I hide big parts of my life due to being afraid that people will judge me. This is basically like the most pathetic version of living a double life. And because of that, I do sometimes envy people who have more mainstream or popular tastes. Don't get me wrong, I do love the communities around my interests, But sometimes I envy how people who consume more popular or common content are, I guess, freer to express themselves and share their interests without being afraid that someone will judge them. And it's not like anime fans or whoever can't do that, but I do believe that it is easier and safer for people who have more mainstream interests because there's less judgment. For example, sometimes I envy people who listen to popular music because it is so easy to find other people who like the same music.
Yeah, like I got lucky. I lucked out with Nino because like we have pretty much the same interests, and if we didn't have them at the start, we got each other into our interests. But like with anyone else, especially IRL, I'd be fucked. Cause I'd be hard pressed trying to find someone that like listens to Vocaloid or watches anime beyond like the big three.
As you. And if someone asks you who your favorite artist is and you say Sabrina Carpenter, no one is gonna judge you unless, of course, you're talking about her on the internet where everyone hates everyone, or you're just surrounded by immature people. But generally, in real life, saying your favorite singer is Sabrina Carpenter is a pretty safe bet. But if someone were to ask me what I listen to, I'd probably lie and say something safe like Chapel Roan. And don't get me wrong, I do listen to her music, but she's not my favorite artist. But if I were to tell people,
Chats, I shit you not. I'll go back. I thought Chaperon was a guy before I actually started listening to her music. Don't at me. I deadass thought she was a guy because of her name. Chaperon sounds like a masculine name to me, and I don't know why.
you listen to her music, but she's not my favorite artist. But if I were to tell people the truth, they would probably hit me with a, "Who's that?" and then proceed to Google what Vocaloid is in front of me, and I die from embarrassment. Also, sometimes not listening to mainstream music makes me feel like a pick-me, or not like the other girls, or, ooh, I'm so unique and different, even though I know that's not what I'm trying to do. I don't think mainstream artists are bad because there has to be some
Oh shit! Holy, that's a throwback. Why did I say okie dokie? Okay. Okay, so we're going with the classics then.
talent there to make them popular, and there are plenty of mainstream songs that I listen to. Plus, I don't look down on people who listen to mainstream music. I mean, that's most of my friends. So I don't think I'm trying to be all different and unique. I just happen to like more niche things. And also, isn't the goal of a pick me to get men's attention? I promise you that's not what I'm trying to do. And I highly doubt that I would even achieve that by listening to Evan Bolka instead of Lana Del Rey.
Cough, cough. I'm a boy failure here. If anyone is looking for a boy failure, here I am. Fuck me, I guess.
But I do know that people like that exist. I've met people who think they are better than the cringe normies who listen to Taylor Swift because they listen to cool, epic underground songs like To the Bone. But I hope it comes clear that I don't think I'm better than anyone who has mainstream interests. Honestly, I think I'm worse because I know nothing about celebrities or pop culture that I probably should be aware of. In middle school, the only content I really consumed was anime, YouTube, and video game related, to the point that I didn't really care about real celebrities, nor did I really watch shows with real people in them.
Me as fuck, chat. Me as me as fuck, and I don't know how. I don't know if I'm supposed to take that as an insult or a compliment or what.
And still now, my knowledge of singers, actors, and celebrities is really bad because for a long time I didn't care about them, and low-key still don't. But now when someone references a famous actor who everyone is expected to know, I feel embarrassed that I don't, and I just kind of smile and pretend that I know who they're talking about. Kind of the same with
Chat, this exact thing happened to me like not even a week ago. Alright, so listen. It's footballers though, so not really like celebrities, but it's still like big footballers. I think his name is like Keegan or something. And and one of my family members said that I look like Keegan. Hold on, let me look him up. Keegan. Keegan football. Motherfucker, I do not look like him. I'm sorry, but I do not look like this. I have a mullet, shit, but my hair does not go down like that. My hair doesn't go down on the sides, it's all going backwards. I look nothing like this, dude. What?
Movies and TV shows. I've seen a relatively high amount of the classics by now, the ones that everyone has seen. But I don't keep up with the new series that Netflix puts out unless I'm like really, really interested. A lot of my friends do, and that is a big part of conversations. And obviously, they can talk about the shows they like. It would be selfish of me to demand that they never do that just because I can't contribute. But when everyone is talking about a show and you're just sitting there listening to the conversation, it can feel a bit lonely. And obviously, this only happened every once in a while, it'll be fine. But when the shows you watch and the shows your friends watch are so different, but still make up a big part of who you both are as people, it can be difficult to connect because you have little common ground. I feel like the content you consume makes up a big part of who you are as a person. And if you're friends with someone where you have zero common ground, yeah, obviously you can still be friends and have a good friendship, but there will be big parts of your life that might be a bit difficult to talk about or express if the other person doesn't understand it. And that can go both ways for people who consume more mainstream content and for people who consume more niche content. And obviously, there are times when I watch my friends' shows because they told me it's good and I'm interested in their interests. But it can be disheartening if they never take interest in my shows because they have a preconceived notion that it's weird or embarrassing, or just jump on the hate train because everyone else says that the media sucks. And I'm no better. In middle school, I would say Sword Art Online is trash, even though I had never seen a single episode of Sword Art Online. But everyone else said that it sucked, so I agreed. So I get that reputation can make people not want to consume something that you like. But when people call the content you like embarrassing, it can sometimes feel like they're also calling you embarrassing. But I'm a bit hypocritical in this because there are some medias that I'm prejudiced against, and I refuse to watch. For example, I refuse to play Genshin Impact because the one time I tried, I got so annoyed at Paimon's voice that I turned the game off and never played again.
Honestly, that's me. But I kind of just started running out of money every week trying to gamble for the people I wanted, so I had to quit.
But the Genshin community seems fun, and I'm sure that the game is good. So I know I'm missing out on a lot. But I don't care. Instead, I'm gonna go watch something that doesn't annoy me, like Hermitcraft. Speaking of which, I usually watch Hermitcraft or the Life series on the bus because typically the episodes are the same length as my bus rides. But I'll always lower my brightness and turn my back so I'm kind of sitting against the window because I don't want the person behind me judging me for being an adult who watches Minecraft videos. And
Shit, I don't give a fuck about that, honestly. I'll just like watch Afmau's old RP series just like balls to the wall in the middle of class. Like that, because I have classes where I'm like, I'm either gonna be sat like the corner that's furthest back but closest to the door, if you get what I'm saying, or just like straight in the middle. I'll just balls to the wall watch Afmau's old RP content. No fucks given.
the rational part of me is like, why does it matter? You're never gonna see this person again. Why does it matter if Maria Elena behind you judges you for watching Minecraft? She probably doesn't even care, and if she does, she'll forget about it by the time she gets off the bus. And if she doesn't forget, then she really needs to get a life. But for some reason, I'm so embarrassed. And how would I know? Maybe Maria Elena is actually a massive fan of Hermitcraft. I wouldn't know, but I'm still afraid of her judging me. And I know the fear of judgment is stupid because what people consider embarrassing is completely subjective. There are things that I find normal that other people find embarrassing, and there are things I find embarrassing that other people find normal. In my opinion, what is considered embarrassing heavily depends on the type of people you're with. One group will find one thing embarrassing, and another will find something else embarrassing. And if you're hanging out with a group who thinks the things you're into are embarrassing, then find a group that doesn't, which is obviously easier said than done. And earlier I said that it's less embarrassing to be a Sabrina Carpenter fan, but that might not always be true because there's plenty of people who think her music is trash or being her fan is bad. Just like there's plenty of people who think Vocaloid is embarrassing. And so because everything is embarrassing, just consume content you enjoy. And don't care if Maria Elena behind you is judging because so what? Luckily, now that I'm older, I found people with similar interests to me. And while I do think it's important to be friends with a wide variety of people, I think it is also important to have friends who are similar to you, because that way you can be yourself without the fear of being judged. Thanks for watching, and you should subscribe so you can add
Damn, that
me to
video
your
went by
list.
quickly. There's no way that was 8 minutes. It felt like 5 or 4. Anyway, my guy, did I have to just get targeted for no reason here? Heavy on the ugly and the insecure. I mean, I've had people say I have decent genetics, so the ugly maybe, but like I feel that shit, so that might just be insecurity. Oh shit! Okay, this is something that. Hold on. How do you have 11k subs with 5 videos? Like, damn, congrats, but at the same time, can YouTube show a brother some love? I've been uploading a ton, busting my ass. I'm not gonna say busting my ass, because I've been taking like heavy breaks randomly when I just don't feel like streaming. I need to actually like work on that and actually have motivation to not stream when I'm supposed to be. But like, still, damn, that is impressive. Congrats. I have nothing else to watch. Fuck me. Honestly, I want to like get back to drawing and figure out this shit, because this thing that I need to like load still isn't loading, and I'm pretty sure it's because I'm streaming. We're gonna watch you tomorrow morning while also having a drawing stream, and I'll see you all next time. We're gonna be reading out who the fuck is live. Let's check it out. Oh fuck, none of my friends are live. Oh fuck, I'm gonna have to read into someone random again, aren't I? No. I'm gonna die. Alright, everyone, there's your raid message, and I'll be seeing you out just a sec. And boom. Fuck. Boom. There we go. I want to see if I can get away with playing Disobedience at the end of my stream. Hold on. Alright, now let's find someone to raid out to, I guess. What can I do, sir? Just say the word, sir. Anything for you, sir. I think about all the wasted time I spent. I wanna be disobedient. I wanna be disobedient. 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 Can you tell that I like Steven Universe? About all the wasted time I spent. I wanna be disobedient. I wanna be disobedient. 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 Alrighty, we're gonna be reading out Tilly. Be good. She is a friend of the stream, but one I do not interact with often. I should interact with her more. Fuck me. Bye.